Babylon Bee. It's the one thing you're not allowed to touch. So what happens if Babylon Bee gets kicked off the Twitter?
As you said, that a man could not be a woman, and a woman could not be a man. You might end up like the Babylon Bee. You might end up banned from Twitter.
You know, we landed on the side of enforcing our rules as written.
And that's how it got bought by Elon Musk, just in case you're interested.
We were, banned from Twitter in March 2022. He restored us and a bunch of other accounts in November, and then now we're invited and we get to come here.
You made me invited.
Yeah, I wanted to give you something, actually.
I'm just going to let you guys in the back row know.
Hi, besties. We are here in Worcester at the DCU Center. We are at the MassGOP Republican Convention. Figured I'd go a little live while we're waiting. I don't know what this sounds like for all of you.
Seth Dillon.
Cash, sir. That's not how you.
Hi. Seth Dillon is
What a cool
speaking.
moment that was. Sitting down.
He is the CEO of Babylon Bee. You might remember
To
that.
celebrate our newfound freedom. For those who don't know,
You can share the stream for me.
For those who aren't familiar with what that is, we have some fans here. Well, we are. Some call us the world's most trusted, factually accurate news source.
I'm going to turn you guys around in a second.
And it's a wild story. The reason the Bee started in the first place, well, I guess there's a couple of reasons, but really the primary reason we created the Babylon Bee is because we needed more humor and levity, and we needed to speak truth to the culture in the most effective way possible. There's nobody doing that right. There's nobody doing that well, anyway. Secular progressives have kind of dominated media and entertainment for a long time. When the Bee comes along in 2016, we're now 10 years old, by the way, we just turned 10 this year, which is pretty cool. And we've risen in the ranks, we've been competing with all these other funny fake news sites like The Onion and CNN. But we've managed to surpass them and become the most trafficked and engaged satire site in the entire world, which is pretty wild given our humble beginnings. But we created the site to be entertaining, but more important than that, than just making people laugh and generating some levity. More important than that is the Bee exists to ridicule bad ideas. And the importance of that can't be overstated, because as we've experienced, not just here in Massachusetts, but throughout the country, bad ideas taken seriously have catastrophic consequences.
So we've had speakers all morning.
They have to be challenged.
Tim Cruise,
but they also need to be modeled.
Sean O'Connell, Tom Hodgson. There's a lot of people here.
For no other reason, because bad philosophy needs to be answered. I think that's exactly why satire is necessary. Bad ideas have to be ridiculed, and that's what satire does so effectively, so that they aren't taken seriously. And it's not mean, mockery is sometimes criticized for being mean and cruel, but we're talking about mocking bad ideas for the foolishness of what they are, so that they aren't taken seriously. When you're doing that, I think there's a moral imperative to that. But I want to tell you a little bit about right to free speech, because this is where things get crazy for us. The goal was just to tell these jokes and make fun of things, and we're in a free society, so we thought we'd be able to do that without much friction or resistance, right? How naive were we? Because comedy is so effective, tyrants hate to be mocked. There's nothing they hate more than to be mocked. We started finding ourselves kind of on the front lines of this battle for free speech in the public square, which is not something that we ever expected. And the way that it came about, it's kind of funny, we started, of course, these social platforms, big tech platforms, Facebook, Twitter, whatever, they started taking some of the blame for Trump getting elected because they didn't do enough to clamp down on the spread of misinformation, right? So what did they mean by misinformation? They basically meant conservative ideas or a truth that they didn't like. They just labeled it misinformation. But they started fact-checking everyone, including satirists. They started fact-checking our jokes and reading false. The most absurd of
Very
these
excited to be here today.
CNN purchases industrial
There's a
size
lot
watch.
of people here, a lot of delegates. The Mike Minogue team has paid for a ton of staffers, which is so interesting. They're everywhere, and I've seen dozens of Minogue staffers, but I have yet to see Minogue. Mike Keneally was outside working the line. The bottleneck to get into the convention was insane. I waited an hour in line. Some people were waiting more. Mike Keneally was working the crowd outside, introducing himself to people, and inside here, he's come over and he's introduced himself to as many people as he can. Brian Shortsleeve joined the crowd here inside once people started getting in here with his team. I have not seen Mike Minogue. I have not seen his wife. We've seen lots of his staffers. There's also people associated with the Minogue campaign who are from like Washington. He hired like an outside company to run his campaign. And so a lot of these people aren't from here. But there's places packed. There's so many people here. I don't want to talk too loud because we have a speaker, but
Ninth Circuit Court overturns death of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. USA Today fact-checked this one. And what I found so amusing about this particular fact-check was that they cited 15 sources in their lengthy reputation. It wasn't just like, oh, well, this came from Babylon Bee, their satire. No, it was, we've checked the Ninth Circuit Court's website. We couldn't find anything about this. We've placed calls, we've done our research. They actually had a journalist dedicate hours of their time to digging for the truth. What does it even mean to overturn somebody's
Mike Urban was speaking earlier. Jack Gately is here in the press box with me.
So silly.
Trying to think, we saw Sheriff Hodgson.
Again, another strike on our account. Ballot drop box is installed along the border wall.
Remember when I did the Jess Machado show, we had Sean Oliver on. Sean Oliver is here. I think he's in the press box, actually. It's a lot of people here.
Reuters reached out to us, and they wanted to know where we took this picture. They were like, you got to go see for yourself. So, I think Kyle, our editor-in-chief, like, set the coordinates where they could go and find these ballot boxes. Go look for them. So stupid. This one is, I think I don't see the next slide, but I think it's going to be one of my favorite jokes. People often ask me what my favorite joke is. I'll have to explain this a little bit once you read it. But oh no, I got an Elizabeth Warren one in here first. Elizabeth Warren
Some of my
returns to drive the
besties.
train after failing to take land back from the pale faces. Forgot I threw that in there. Published that right around the time she dropped out. It was kind of viral, so I couldn't pass up the opportunity to throw that in there. Now we get to the one I'm talking about. Trump, I have done more for Christianity than Jesus. This is a great Trump joke. Come on. We wrote this in 2019, obviously playing off of Trump's ego, the fact that he says these outlandish things all the time. And I mean all the time. Of course, there's just that recent incident with the picture that he posted of himself as a doctor. So I think there's truth to this joke, just because this is the kind of thing that he would say, right? So we post this, and it was viral, so people thought it was true. We had a couple of New York Times reporters shared it thinking it was true. So of course the fact checkers had to get involved and read it false. And what was really great about this, though, is not only did it go viral, and we had this reporter sharing it, and then it got fact-checked. 2 years later, he goes on a radio show and says nobody's done more for Christianity than him. Speaking to Gene Bailey on Flash, when he says nobody's done more for Christianity or for evangelicals or for religion itself than I have. You went further than the joke. So we have now categorized this one amongst our other fulfilling prophecies, as we call them, which kind of illustrate the difficulty of doing our job today. You know, there's a couple of reasons our job is hard. One thing, you know, we're getting all these fact checks and the censorship and whatever. But the other thing is we have to kind of, as Matt Walsh was saying that little video intro, stay ahead of the curve of this stuff. We have to come up with jokes that are funnier than what Democrats are doing in real life. And that is not easy. Imagine your job is to write jokes that are funnier than Kamala Harris' speech. Could you do it? Be honest. So this continually happens where we tell these jokes. It's kind of like, you know, The Simpsons is notorious for this, right? The Simpsons has told a lot of jokes over the years that ended up later on actually happening. And that's what happens when the world is getting so crazy and insane. You try to exaggerate it, you try to caricature it, you try to parody it, but really you're parodying a world that essentially is parody already. And it catches up to you. And the next thing you know, your jokes are coming true. We have over 120 of them that have now come true in just a few years that we've been in existence. I have a few of these I want to show you too. To improve public perception, Kamala Harris taking likability lessons from Hillary Clinton. This is a B headline. It's a joke. No one would ever take likability lessons from Hillary Clinton. So you know this is clearly a joke. But then here's a real headline. White House asks Hillary staffers how to make Kamala more likable. 1 month later. Study finds anyone still wearing a mask at this point is probably just super ugly. I always have to scan the room after I throw that one up there. Just look around and see. I don't see anybody, but it's always so awkward when I see somebody with a mask. Reveal yourself. This is a B joke in 2021. In 2023, this article comes out in the New York Post. Unattractive individuals wear masks when lawful in office. Gavin Newsom named U-Haul salesperson of the year. They're not coming here though, right? They keep coming to Florida where I am. We need walls around Florida. Californians fleeing for Texas so fast, U-Haul runs out of trucks for them. So, this fight for freedom, you know, this fight for free speech, I think it's so crucial for so many reasons. We have to be able to push back on these bad ideas. We have to be able to confront them. We have to be able to mock the powers that be and the cancerous ideology that they advance. And we can't do that without freedom. You know, I don't think that freedom is the most fundamental right that we have, the freedom to speak. For example, is not the most fundamental right. The most fundamental right is the right to live, the right to be born. But there's something uniquely special about the right to speak freely, because it is the right that allows us to defend all of our other rights. You can't defend the right to life if you can't speak freely. And so, the fight for free speech is the one that must be continuously fought and won because it makes all of those other fights possible. And so we take this very seriously. As much as we love to joke about these things, you know, the threat to speech has been so dire. And thankfully, we're making tremendous progress on this. I think, you know, that little video montage we showed that culminated with us sitting down with Elon Musk is such a good example of how, when you actually are willing to do something about this problem, you can solve the problem. You just have to stand up in large numbers and push back, because so much of the coercion and the censorship was coming from the top down and was aided by the cowardice of people who are willing to bite their own tongues so they wouldn't face consequences for speaking up. And so even worse than the hard censorship, which is what I would define as, you know, them taking your content down because they don't like what you said, which, you know, they're technically entitled to do as private companies at this point. Even worse than that is the millions of times more frequent than that people bite their own tongues and do the tyrant's work for him and censor themselves because they're afraid of consequences. And that's what we have to overcome. That's what will make a difference. We had the most notorious instance of censorship that the Bee faced was when, we came across this joke that felt like it was satire. Not a joke. It's kind of a joke. A real headline that felt like a joke. This one, USA Today names transgender Biden official as one of its Women of the Year. Let me ask you, gotta be honest with me, are there any women in the room who are offended by a male being named Woman of the Year? Thank you. I take your word that you're a woman, I'm not a biologist. So, this headline gets published, and as satirists, humorists, we're looking at this, what we typically do is we have to caricature this, make it funnier, we have to exaggerate it somehow. Well, how in the world do you make this funnier than it already is? How do you parody that which is already a parody? That's the problem. Chesterton said the world has become too absurd to be satirized. He said that back in 1911. Imagine if you saw this. How do you satirize it? Well, we started pitching ideas back and forth, and all of them were terrible because it was hard to be funnier than this.
I'm getting some messages from people who are saying they're having a hard time sharing this on Facebook. Let's just try sharing the link directly from YouTube. That's the second message I got. I'm not sure exactly what's going on, but should be able to.
Misgendering, which is hateful conduct under Twitter's policies, and that's going to get us literally booted off the platform. We can lose our account if we were to do that. And so we had this internal discussion about whether or not we should publish a joke like that. And my thinking was, this is the reason I expressed to the team was, if there are jokes we're not allowed to tell that they don't want us to tell, aren't those the ones that are the most important to be told? It's exactly the moment when we need to be speaking, is when there's the most pressure on us to refrain. So I'm like,
Maybe LGs.
immediately about mass reported hateful conduct.
So Jim Ballard is rolling around.
We just saw.
Oh yeah, you should go talk to him.
And so-
Ask him about Mike Minogue. I'm sure
We
it's
get a
a
message on our account.
How many guys
Elon Musk.
Yeah, it's holding you.
And it says,
The chair also moves that the chief
secrets.
of battalion operations is Haley Jones. The sergeant at arms is Sheriff Tom Hodgson, and Chief Page Alex Conlon. We thank them for their efforts today as well. Delegates, the chair declares a brief recess. We ask that you please kindly.
I'm going to go for a recess. Give me a minute.
15 minutes. Thank you.
How do you spell Manel?
Yeah, 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 yeah. I want you tonight. So, what's crazy is, let's stop sharing. All right, so what's a little crazy is you hadn't seen Minogue the whole time, and he came out mid-speech with what's-his-face from Babylon. The press jumped up to go and grab him because we have no access to him because he wasn't outside, he wasn't inside, he wasn't on the floor. And then when you get over to him, he's like, looking forward to speaking to you all later, because nobody could really talk to him because we had a speaker, so it was kind of rude. So we have a little bit of a break, so I can talk a little bit differently. So thanks for joining me. If you could share this. So we're here today at the DCU Center in Worcester for the Republican convention. This is my first time at a convention. I've learned a little bit about the process, what it took to get here. If you don't know, delegates have been selected over the past several months in every community across the Commonwealth through city committees, hosting caucuses, where those who are interested in coming here today were voted upon by members of Republican town or city committees. Those people were selected as delegates. In some communities, it was extremely competitive. In Somerset, we had more people asking to be delegates than we had spaces, but we sent a full delegation, although we're missing a couple people today for health reasons. And so delegates are selected for each community across the state. You come to the convention, and at some point, delegates are going to be asked to choose a candidate for governor. In order to make the ballot for for September, in the September primary, you need 15% of the delegates here to make the ballot. The person who gets the most is considered the GOP nominee, but it doesn't mean that you still can't run as long as you're getting 15% of the vote to get on the ballot. There are 3 candidates running for governor on the Republican ticket in Massachusetts. You have Brian Shortsleeve, you have Mike Minogue, and you have Mike Keneally. All 3 of those guys are running to be the Republican on the ballot to face off against Maura Healey in November. So this is part of the process. I'm hearing that these are record numbers of attendees and delegates for the MassGOP. It's definitely a shift that we've seen in the past 4 years or so with interested parties participating in this process. There's also a lot of a younger group of people here. Many of the volunteers here are young college kids, high school kids, but we're also seeing younger delegates too for the first time. At least that's what I'm told. I recognize a lot of the traditional players in MassGOP politics. All of those people have been scooped up by the teams and are working hard to work the floor and make sure their candidate gets voted on. The outsider is Minogue. A lot of the people associated with the Minogue campaign are people we've never seen before. He hired an outside company from out of state. All of these volunteers are people, I have never seen them before. My prediction is that Mike Minogue is going to win today with probably 50% of the vote. And I believe Shortsleeve and Keneally will both still meet the benchmark to make the 15%. I'm here as a member of the press. I'm a member of the press today. I'm also a delegate today, and I'm also here on behalf of the Keneally campaign. I met all three candidates. I spoke with all three of them prior to making my decision on who I was going to support. All three of them are great. All three of them have really great teams surrounding them, although Minogue's is kind of like we don't really know a lot about. However, what I'm looking for in a candidate is someone who can beat Maura Healey in a general election. I look at what it's like here in Massachusetts. The majority of the voters here in Massachusetts are unenrolled. A far-right candidate, as much as we love them, is not favorable to Massachusetts voters. And so I am concerned about Mike Minogue. I believe his stance and his public statements on abortion are not going to do well for unenrolled voters in Massachusetts. Again, as much as my own belief system aligns with that, I put myself aside and I'm looking at what this means for the average voter in Massachusetts who is not a Republican. Mike Minogue has, I believe, said and done things that would isolate middle of the ground voters, and we need someone who appeals to the unenrolled, appeals to my mom, who is not a Republican, but doesn't like Maura Healey, but wants to feel comfortable with who she's voting for. And I believe that's why Mike Keneally is my choice, amongst other things. Putting that all aside, one of the things that I have to say is this is an unbelievably exciting place to be right now. This is Massachusetts, and this room is filled with Republicans. 4 years ago, you had Jeff Deal on the ticket or running, and Chris Doty, and this was an abysmal event. It was low energy. It was poorly attended, and it was a lot of the same people from years past. This is a very different event from what I'm hearing. I spoke with an attendee in line who has been to 4 of these, and she was saying that this crowd seemed to be the largest crowd that she has seen, and that there were a lot of fresh and new faces, which I think is very exciting. It's certainly very patriotic. It's very, very well done. It's high energy, and everybody seems really, really happy to be here. I'm happy to be here. My delegation from Somerset is very happy to be here. It's the first time in the history of Somerset that we have sent a full delegate. We elected a full delegation. That's never happened before. And so, and that's, I'm seeing that elsewhere. I don't like, so just like the national convention, we have the floor here and they all have like these posts and things. There's so many delegates, there's not enough room on the floor. So a lot of them are up in the stands. My delegation's all the way up top. I'm sad. They're all the way up top. I can't see them. But at some point when it's time to vote, I will, who is this lady and what is she doing? She's talking about transgenderism to the press.
Are you live right now?
I am.
Oh my goodness.
Want to say hi?
People, hi.
Introduce yourself.
I am Noah. I'm Noah Hatton. I do the K-Zone Morning Commute, 105.3 FM, AM 1280 WPKZ. If I don't get 978-348-1280, if I don't get a call in from all 669 of you on Monday morning, I'm going to throw a fit. I'm going to throw a fit.
No.
I swear to God, I will throw a fit. How are you enjoying the day so far?
I was just telling everybody, I think it's electric.
It's amazing.
Right?
The energy is great.
I think it's great energy. I think we're seeing a lot of people for the first time. Speakers have been great. Mike
Yeah.
Urban was great.
Michael was great. Babylon B.
Babylon B guy great.
Tremendous.
Sheriff Hodgson was
Yeah.
great. Yeah, it's a
And
great
not,
day.
Yeah, and not to mention all of our friends we're running into here.
I know. It's
We
wonderful.
got high school kids asking
Yes.
people questions, being nosy.
I know. I love it.
They came up, they said, "How do I do this?" I said, "You got to be aggressive.
That's it.
You got to be aggressive."
You don't ask permission.
That's right.
You
Yeah.
you ask for forgiveness later.
Oh, that's right. By the way, that's us, right there. I don't know if you can see.
Well, you
that.
guys will know when I'm on with Phil sometimes on Thursdays. Same station.
I'm bothering
Phil's here
my
too.
friend.
Hey, we on air. That's wild.
Why?
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Good morning, Ben Rosa. No, you're here actually. I know you're here, so.
Ben Rose is here.
Hello to Amy
Funeral lady.
and to everybody else. Thank you. Hi, bunnies. Hi, besties.
Hi. All right. It's amazing and fantastic here. I love Phil. Phil and his big biceps are here. Yes. What else were we gonna say? Oh, there was a lady over here, and she was asking the girls in the press box how they feel as young. I'm streaming. You want to come in? Say hi. Hi. How are you? It's a bestie. Nice to be seen. What do you think so far? He can come.
I know.
He could come. She's saying she wishes Turtle Boy were here.
I have to tell you this. When I first got here yesterday, I sat down in the lobby,
Yeah.
going through my things, inside being introduced to something, exchanging nice things into sentiment. Oh, you know, this is nice.
Was she a fan or
One
no?
way or the other. She was a fan.
Yeah.
And I was so glad to
Yay.
because I was ready.
Yeah. Ready to fight him.
I said, as a matter of fact, it's one day, the next quarter over.
Yeah, he should be here.
I know. But I wanted to tell you, right?
Which one?
When we went to Poland and to
Oh, chat roulette. Bessie has concerns about chat roulette on Wednesday. She said she was scared. I was scared. When Lloyd started with the Adderall, I was like, I know. It was fun though. We should probably do it again.
and then I get up the next morning and I said to my son, yeah.
How's he doing? Does he like it? Is he doing good today here? He's doing good. You guys are on the floor. Somerset's all the way up in the rafters. Say bye to the besties. He's up in the Somerset area. I'm working. So hold on, let's shut this down. Hold on. Let's open this up a little bit. Hold on. All right. So John Deon is here. So I was on my way up here this morning, and let's see if we can get John Deon to come over and sit down with us. No, John Deon, he ran against Elizabeth Warren. Now he's running against Ed Markey. Just waiting for Deaton to finish.
Delegates, please make your way back to your seats. Nominations will begin in 5 minutes.
You got to give everyone a reason. So I sat and I talked to people who like me in the state committee meeting, and I realized that disabused them of misconceptions that they had of me. And I told them, listen, I don't pretend to be like the Republican, but I have a sincere belief in unifying the party. And you're going to see that on stage tonight, and I'll say to you, if you're more conservative than me, sit next to me at the table. We'll sit on the other side. We've got to come together. One party rule is a problem. If the other party had 30% control, it'd probably be a problem. But one party rule, no matter which party, always is the same. Arrogance and corruption. And people believing that they don't have to answer and be accountable for the people they serve. We're witnessing that in Massachusetts. I'm offering a change. And I'm also going to remind them that I believe this race, the U.S. Senate race, is the most important race in this entire election. When I line a Republican governor, and we think we're facing a super majority. As your U.S. Senator, I operate outside.
Sheriff.
Hey, how are you? I'll see you in a long time.
I'm live streaming if you want to say hi to everybody.
Hello, everybody. We're having a great event here at the convention here at the DCU Center. And on to victory, we're going to turn Massachusetts around.
Your speech was great.
Thank you.
Always
I appreciate
motivational.
that. Means a lot coming from you. Believe me.
It was wonderful,
That's
as always.
Great to see you.
Same.
Yeah, listen, I mean, you know, the issue that I'm going to face last time, Senator Warren said, don't vote for John Deon because we're going to flip the Senate, right? And that needs to go. I'm just going to try to remind you, let's get back to who's the best candidate for each race. And I'll say, there are some Republicans that I will not vote for. If I live in South Carolina, I'm not voting for Lindsey Graham. I don't think he'll be the better candidate. I believe the Democrat might be a better candidate. In this race, John Deon is the better candidate over Ed Markey himself. Look, my worry the Senate's going to flip. I'm not worried about it because I don't look at who controls the White House or any of that. I wonder, my job is to represent Massachusetts in America. You want to know something? I don't care who the president is because I'm going to do that simple test. Is it good for Massachusetts and America? It is. I support it. It isn't. I don't support it. Wouldn't it be refreshing if someone had that approach in Washington? vote, whoever, are going to say no, 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 no matter what, even if it's good. I'm not a guaranteed yes, but I'm a maybe. I'll say, what's Massachusetts get out of it? Can I get some billions for the bridges on the Cape? Can I get some money for healthcare? Can I get money for infrastructure? Can I get money for nuclear credit so we can build nuclear energy here in Massachusetts and power 40% of our homes cheaper and cleaner? You need an advocate like that in Washington, not someone who is loyal to a party or an agenda or a person. I think the people of the Commonwealth are ready for that kind of guy, and that's the kind of guy I am. That's the kind of guy you're going to see on the stage in just a few minutes.
Are you backing any candidate for governor today?
No, I'm not backing anyone. I believe that whoever wins the primary, everybody's got to get behind, right? And if there's a clear winner, then maybe we should get behind that winner. But
Delegates, please take your
again,
seats.
the U.S. Senate seat is the single most important race in Massachusetts 2026 because that Republican governor will face a supermajority. I can operate outside that supermajority and fight for those billions and billions of dollars to come here at home for Massachusetts. Let me just say this. Even when the Democrats are in power, infrastructure bill was passed, $130 billion went to bridges across America, not our bridges. So even when the Democrats in office, they don't fight. They're taking it for granted. And now that the Republicans win, they're never going to get money. I'm going to go in there and say, how do I serve the people of Massachusetts? Don't care about party politics. Don't care about personalities in the White House. That's what people are ready for. And we're going to shock the world.
John, we have some people that are watching that can't make it today. If you could just say hi to everybody.
Hi, everybody. I hope you can tune in. I'm going to show people what we're going to get back to. We're going to unify, and disenfranchised Democrats are going to come out and vote for me and vote for an independent voice for Massachusetts. Independents are going to resonate with me, and I'm looking forward to making that case.
Thanks, Sean. Hi, how are you? All right. That's John Deon. Let's take a look at what's going on. Couple things. Let's get into it. So, two things. Disgraced former GOP chairman Jim Lyons is here. And he is obviously in the Minogue camp. That is a big red flag for a lot of us. It would be almost like it'd be better if he just tapped out altogether, but he is here. Minogue came on the floor from behind me over here, and the first people that he saw and interacted with, Elaine is here.
Hi, everyone.
I'm good. Thank you for thinking of me. You guys know Elaine from You guys know Elaine from the Karen Reed trial. She was out front. She's at Aiden's things as well.
Delegates, please welcome National Committee Woman Janet Fogarty and National Committee Man Brad White.
Brad Wyatt and Janet Fogarty are here. They are National Committee Woman and Committee Man. They represent Massachusetts in Washington for the Mass GOP, or the National Republican Party. Janet has been our National Committee Woman for a while. Brad Wyatt is
Most glamorous night of politics.
new, so to speak. So with that being said,
But let me say, here are the nominees.
we have candidates.
Yes, of course, the candidates for governor are Mike Keneally.
Woohoo!
Mike Minogue. And Brian short sleeve. And now the winner is.
No, stop. We don't have a winner yet. The delegates have to vote.
Oh, so there's no winner inside the envelope?
No winner in the envelope, just the tally sheet.
No dramatic music?
No dramatic music.
No acceptance speech?
Only for the winner after the delegates vote.
So
At one point, I'm going to have to
decide who gets the
tap
starting
out
role.
and go vote.
Okay, the delegates, the stage is yours. Let the voting begin.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a warm welcome to Senator Carr.
I gotta go ask a question.
Convention co-chair, Senator Bruce Carr.
Sorry.
Sorry for the delay, ladies and gentlemen. I was backstage consulting with legal counsel to confirm that the bags that are being passed out by all of the campaigns are not subject to the 10% Massachusetts bag tax. Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, we now come to the main purpose of this convention, the endorsement of candidates for the Republican nomination for offices to be elected by all voters of the Commonwealth this coming November. Our duty in this matter is prescribed by Massachusetts general law, and I ask the cooperation of all delegates and guests to ensure that we proceed with a minimum of delay. The chair calls upon all delegates and guests to maintain proper decorum throughout these proceedings. Any disruptions will be addressed promptly, and the chair will not hesitate to order the Sergeant at Arms to remove any person who interferes with the orderly conduct of this convention. We are united in purpose, and it is in that spirit of unity that we must move forward together. Now, I'm going to read through the rules, and I ask you to pay attention carefully. I know they're a little bit complicated, but they're important. So, in accordance with the rules of the convention, passed unanimously by the state committee last year, candidates who intend to have their names placed in nomination manifested in writing in advance of his or her willingness to accept the endorsement of the convention and the nomination of the Republican Party. Nomination of candidates from the floor, other than those having met the requirement, shall be ruled out of order. We'll now proceed to the nomination of candidates for the endorsement of this convention. Per the party rules, we will consider the offices in the following order: United States Senator, Treasurer, Attorney General, Lieutenant Governor, and Governor. There is no candidate for the Secretary of the Commonwealth or Auditor. In each section, the senior state committee member or a designee will serve as the delegate captain. His or her duty is to conduct the vote for your district. At the commencement of the nomination of the nominee for each office, the delegate should approach his or her captain and listen for the call of his or her name on the roll. The captain will report the votes, and at the end of the voting period, will report the vote count to the convention secretary. And I want to make note that seconders in this process should make their way up to the side of the stage and see this wonderful young lady who's a member of the staff who is waving to get your attention. Wave back so she feels appreciated. Are you ready to get started? Okay. The chair now recognizes Norfolk and Plymouth District State Committee members
Jeff Peel, delegate from Whitman, for the purpose of placing the name of John Deon in nomination for this convention's endorsement for the office of United States Senator.
Madam Chair, distinguished guests, and my fellow Republican delegates to the 2026 Massachusetts GOP Convention, it's my great honor to nominate for the United States Senate a man who puts people over politics every single day, and that man is John Deon. John's journey is a true American story of resilience. He grew up in a broken home facing poverty and lived on food stamps, but he refused to make excuses. John joined the United States Marine Corps, rose to the rank of captain, served with honor, beat cancer, earned his law degree, and built a successful trial practice from the ground up. And today, he is a proud father of 3 young daughters and a fighter who never forgot his roots. John does not just talk about passion, he lives it. He stands up for what he believes in, even when it's difficult. When the legislature tried to block the voter-approved audit of Beacon Hill, John filed a taxpayer lawsuit and fought for the transparency our families deserve. And when our party needed help, John stepped up. He wrote 6-figure checks to retire the debt and strengthen the Mass GOP. And then he committed $1 million of his own money to this race. Now, recent polling shows real momentum, and when voters hear John's story and message, he closes the gap significantly and has a genuine chance to win the seat. John Deon has already earned the official endorsement from the Massachusetts Republican Party. Today, I ask you to make it unanimous. It is my privilege to nominate John Deon for United States Senate. Let's do this. Let's win this. God bless the Commonwealth of Massachusetts.
Thank you. The nomination having been made, I must now ask for a second. And the chair recognizes former Bristol County Sheriff Tom Hodgson for the purpose of seconding the nomination.
Good afternoon, fellow delegates, fellow Republicans. After more than 25 years as sheriff, I know a real leader with a backbone when I see him. That's why I'm proud to second the nomination of John Deon for United States Senate. As was just said, John Deon is a Marine, a dedicated fighter for this country who answered the call. He rose from a tough childhood, poverty, food stamps, beat cancer, earned his degree, and built a successful trial law practice from the ground up. He's a proud father of 3 young daughters who he still fights for the working families of Massachusetts every single day. John puts people over politics. He took on Beacon Hill directly, filing a taxpayer lawsuit to demand the transparency and accountability our voters approved. And when our party needed him most, John stepped up big. John is the candidate who can unite us all. Madam Chair, after 50 years of Markey, Massachusetts has had enough. Because John already has the endorsement of the Mass GOP, and in the spirit of unity for this convention, I respectfully ask that you move for a unanimous vote by acclamation. I proudly second the nomination of a true fighter, John Deon, for the United States Senate. May God bless you all. God bless America.
Congratulates the sheriff on his very patriotic hat. The nomination having been made and seconded, are there any further nominations for the office of United States Senate? The chair hearing and seeing none, the chair will declare that the name of John Deon is officially before this convention. If there is no objection, the convention will endorse John Deon by acclamation. Hearing no objection, John Deon is endorsed as our candidate for the United States Senate. It now gives me great pleasure to present to you the next United States Senator of our great Commonwealth, John Deon.
Forged in crisis and defined by leadership when this country needed it most. From the shot heard round the world, to preserving a nation, to rebuilding its strength, to restoring belief in the American future. But history doesn't carry itself forward. It demands new leadership. And here in Massachusetts, the challenge is real. But every once in a while, a Marine answers the call. A father fights battles no one sees. And someone steps forward, not for power, but for people. Someone willing to do the work, show up, and rebuild from the ground up. Across this state, in towns that feel forgotten, and communities ready to be heard. A movement is moving, not left, not right, but forward. A stronger Republican Party means a stronger Massachusetts, and a stronger Massachusetts means a stronger America. This isn't Washington. This is Massachusetts, and together we rise.
Please welcome John Deon.
Thank you. To each and every delegate, thank you. To my campaign team, every donor, every volunteer, thank you. To my daughters, Olivia, Jordan, Layla, I love you more than words. To my stepkids, Jackson, McKenzie, and my beloved Christy, thank you. I accept your nomination. I'm running in Massachusetts as a Republican. Sometimes we smirk and say, "You sure you know what you're doing, John?" I do. One party rule is hurting people, and when people hurt bad enough, the R
was an attempt at a joke.
less important than rent and the electric bill. Now the media, they love to ask me, "What kind of Republican are you, John? Are you a Charlie Baker Republican? Or are you a Donald Trump Republican?" I'm a John Deon Republican, and I bring something unique to the table. I was born into poverty, a single mother on welfare, food stamps, a dad who abandoned us, living in one of the worst neighborhoods in all of America. At 6, I saw my mom get stabbed in a park. At 9, a child predator began abusing me. At 17, my best friend Derek died in my arms, shot 4 times. My first day of high school, I had a gun shoved in my mouth. The next day, I was a high school dropout, just like everyone else in my family before me. Heck, I even beat cancer, but I had something going for me.
I lived in the greatest country the world has ever seen. A country where your birth doesn't have to dictate your fate. Where hard work, grit, determination, you can determine your fate. So make no mistake, when you look at me on this stage, you are looking at the American dream, not the slogan, the thing itself. So no, I'm not a Charlie Baker Republican. No, I'm not a Donald Trump Republican. I'm just John Deon, and I'm proud to be your nominee. Now let me tell you why I'm proud, but not the talking points with history. When I think of being a Republican, I think of Lincoln signing the Emancipation Proclamation. I think of Frederick Douglass, born into slavery, beaten, sold. He didn't curse the Declaration of Independence. He demanded America live up to it. And he chose to believe in this country. And he called the Republican Party the party of freedom and progress because it was. I think of Hiram Reynolds, who in 1890 became the first black U.S. senator, sitting in the same seat as Jefferson Davis, the president of the Confederacy. The first black man to become a senator sat in the same chair as a man who fought to keep him a slave. That is American history at its most powerful. I think of Teddy Roosevelt, whose America looked a lot like ours today. A rampant Washington corruption, monopolies, all these things. You know what Roosevelt understood? That capitalism doesn't fix itself when the powerful rig the system. You save capitalism not by protecting the powerful, but by making it honest. So he busted the trust, broke up the monopolies, and said every American, the worker, the farmer, the small business owner deserves a square deal, not a rigged deal. When I think of being a Republican, I think of 1957. 9 black kids trying to walk through the front door of Central High School in Arkansas. The Democrat governor sent the National Guard to block them, and it was a Republican. Eisenhower, who sent the 101st Airborne to walk those kids to class. Once again, a Republican standing for the forgotten.
All right. Sorry, I got so sidetracked. Just went into the press room because we have a press area in the back, and was catching up with Mike Urban. John Deon is on stage right now. Short sleeve. Mass Daily News is here. Mass Daily News, if you don't follow them, they are one of my favorite online news sources. Great stories, really breaking open all of these like corruption stories out of Boston. The people behind Mass Daily News are anonymous, but I know them. We've met at several events over the past year or two, and I'm very excited that they are. I'm very excited that they are here today. So I was catching up with all my comrades in the back room. So just a little bit on this timetable. It's 11:45. We're not going to start voting until around 2 o'clock. We're going to have speaking by each one of the gubernatorial candidates. Mike Urban is amazing. He did so great today. So a couple of things. Picking back up to where we were. The Jim Lyons situation with Mike Minogue was a little concerning. When you hit the floor and the first person you see is
history suggests otherwise. I say
a lot. Next.
We as Republicans believe in the dignity.
Earlier this morning, on the way here. Hi, Lady Wax. Good morning. If you're just joining in, we're live from the Republican Convention in Worcester at the DCU Center. Somebody sent Aiden Carney over here. There's a lot of people asking for him.
Especially those in power. So Ed Markey, Maura Healy, Andrea Campbell, Ron Mariano, and Karen Spilka, where the
lights on. A teacher here in Worcester, a nurse in Springfield, a construction worker in Quincy. They did everything right. They went to school. They worked hard. They played by the rules, and they cannot afford to live here. Hell, they can't afford to get sick. Massachusetts is in trouble. Housing costs are 106% above the national average. Electricity, highest in the nation. Childcare, highest in the nation. 1.1 million people on food stamps. And the result, we lead the nation and people leaving this state. And it's not because of bad luck. It's not because of COVID. It's because of one party rule, right? New Hampshire, Texas, Tennessee, Florida, thriving. Ed Markey and Maura Healey should be heroes in those states. Because the best thing that happened to those states. Listen, Ed Markey has been in office for 53 years. Look, look, it's clear, I'm not a young man. But when Ed Markey first got elected, gas was 59 cents a gallon. Tickets at Fenway were $1.25. Harvard tuition moving forward was $5,000. Okay? And listen, Massachusetts is paying the price. We paid 33 cents for electricity.
Short Sleeve campaign has young volunteers, and they are going around handing out swag bags, these red bags full of merch for Short Sleeve. I did notice Brian Short Sleeve, who is a veteran, a lot of the guys here on his team have on camouflage hats that say Short Sleeve on them, which is very interesting. Mayor Shauna O'Connell just walked by me holding hands with her husband. She was a speaker earlier.
Second best in the nation. 53 years in office, and the people of this state have to choose between medicine and food. I think it's time we elect someone who is people before party. I think it's time we elect someone who is truth before politics. Look, everyone, people are losing hope. I see it. I've been there. Listen, God gave me some challenges, but He gave me this superpower called hope. The firm belief that tomorrow will bring a better day. And I fought harder and dug down.
I gotta do some work. Stand by.
And it can get better for Massachusetts. It can. On healthcare, there's 3 insurance companies that control over 90% of our healthcare. That's not real capitalism. We're really a Teddy Roosevelt approach. I've been fighting for insurance company support for 30 years. I'll join the Senate. Listen, my very first bill in the United States Senate, tell me if you hear something you like, term limits. Single issue bills. No more insider trading. How about this? Congress doesn't pass a budget, Congress doesn't get paid. Congress shuts the government down, Congress doesn't get paid. We gotta get a seat at the table. The only way we get a seat at the table is by uniting. Listen to me. If you're more conservative than me, sit next to me, please, at the table. If you're more moderate, sit on the other side. We have to unite. We have to unite. And listen to all the independents out there and Democrats out there that are disenfranchised. I'm not running to push ideology on anyone. People aren't looking for ideology. They're looking for someone to help solve their problems. 1/3 of our budget comes from the federal government. I believe the U.S. Senate seats the most important race. No disrespect to the governor's race. I'll tell you why. Republican governors could face a supermajority on day one. I can operate in Washington outside that supermajority, fighting for those federal funds that make 1/3 of our budget for money for infrastructure, for housing, for nuclear energy, for health care. Okay, one party rule always is the same. Arrogance, corruption, a political class that stops being being accountable for the people he serves. 72% voted for the state legislative audit. Beacon Hill said no. They're telling you to your face that they only answer to themselves. Where's that market on an audit? When you get in front of the club that long, you protect the club. A senator knows that he can be replaced, works hard, listens better, never forgets where he came from. Sending me to Washington doesn't mean you agree with every Republican in the White House or those independents and out there. It just means you're sending someone who will listen to you finally. And I will. Teddy Roosevelt said that credit belongs to man in the arena whose face is marred with dust, sweat, blood, who at worst failed, daring greatly. I've been in the arena all my life. I'm asking you to join me. It all started here. The shot heard around the world. The cradle of liberty was fight for freedom. First began. It begins here again. And if you believe that Massachusetts can do better, join me. If you're tired of choosing between the electric bill and the grocery bill, join me. If you're an independent or Democrat who's never voted Republican, but you're sick of the status quo, join me, because most of us believe in the same things I'm telling you. Most of us believe in lower taxes for working families so they can keep more of what they earn. Most of us believe in less government overreach so small businesses can thrive and parents can raise their kids their way. Most of us believe in freedom and innovation. When it comes to hard work, it still matters. That's not even a Republican platform. It's an American platform. These are our and we have them. Tax relief, deregulation, school choice, common sense energy policy, innovation, real economic growth. We deliver that message. We win. Listen, everyone, change does not begin by winning an election. It begins by believing you can win. And I believe we can win, but I need you to believe it too. And join me united. But we're not going to listen to the mom worried about rent, the dad fed up with energy prices, the worker tired of seeing his job leave the state, and together, united, we can make Massachusetts affordable again. Thank you. God bless you.
Come back to this kind of shotgun I had. Just the amount of people like going from 0 to 40 to 50 to 2.
The chair now recognizes the office of all the head delegates waiting for the purpose of placing the name of Elizabeth Dion, nomination for this convention's endorsement for the office of treasurer.
I was trying to take a picture of you two.
I'll send you the one with me and Sean.
Yeah.
I'll go on the other side. Yeah, we're friends.
I'll take it.
Especially given what you just saw. Having won 17 elections in the state myself, 18 if you count captaincy of my baseball team. That is why I'm proudly endorsing and nominating Elizabeth Dion for state treasurer. Or she would say the taxpayer's treasurer. Elizabeth is the most qualified candidate I have seen running for treasurer in my lifetime. I'm a lifelong Massachusetts guy. Just as important, she has the fire, the gun in the belly to win. Elizabeth knows what is at stake, and she's not afraid to take on the corruption, the cronyism, the chaos plaguing the State House, and more specifically, the Treasurer's Office and the departments under the Treasurer's auspices, like the Cannabis Control Commission, and like the lottery, among others.
She understands that this office is not about just managing money. It's about restoring trust. It's about accountability, transparency, and putting taxpayers first. Elizabeth will be the Beacon Hill watchdog for every dollar, ensuring it is spent wisely and responsibly. She will stand up to political insiders and fight for the people who work hard to pay their taxes and expect results in their tax dollars. Delegates, we want to win, and win big. We need a candidate with the passion, intelligence to lead, to inspire, and deliver. And I am convinced Elizabeth Dion is that candidate. Let's rally behind her and take back the treasurer's office. On to victory.
And now under the rules, I must ask for a second. The chair recognizes State Representative Marcus Vaughn, delegate to President Hall, for the purpose of seconding the nomination. Being a Republican on Beacon Hill is not easy. Too few officials focus on common sense, fiscal accountability, and saving our money. That's why we need a new state treasurer. One who has common sense and determination to stretch our tax dollars in the backbone to open our books. That's why I stand before you today to second the nomination of Elizabeth Dion for state treasurer. As my friend Mayor Hedlund said, she will be the taxpayer's treasurer. Elizabeth will demand transparency where currently there is secrecy. She will bring accountability where currently there is complacency. And she will fight for fiscal discipline in a building that too often forgets what it means. We need a treasurer who will ask tough questions. Where is our money going? How is it spent?
Let's go to Bedford. Let's
and most importantly,
County. Let's go to
results for the people of
Massachusetts. Love you all. Let's bring
Elizabeth
this
has
to
the
September.
experience,
Thank
the
you.
courage,
Jess,
and
thanks
the
a lot.
independence to
Doing
do
a great
exactly
job.
that. She won't be a rubber stamp.
That's Sean Oliver. He's the running mate of Brian Shortsleeve. He's running for lieutenant governor. He's from New Beige.
You and me, the taxpayers. Delegates, this is our opportunity to endorse a candidate who stands for fiscal responsibility, integrity, and true oversight. If you believe in
Those of you who may know Jack Gately.
Hey, how are you?
He's here. He's been here since yesterday.
Yep. Stayed over, had a good time last night, and having a good time today, meeting all sorts of people. Not every day do you get to sit at the same table with the great Jessica Machado, but
We're both delegates and press.
yes.
We're the only two press that are delegates.
The only two.
Yes.
So it's different.
Yes.
But we are going to be voting a little bit later today. We'll see what happens. Jessica will keep you posted.
And Jack will too. Give him a follow.
All right. Talk to you later.
Are there further nominations? Hearing none, the chair declares that the name of Elizabeth Dion is before this convention.
Elizabeth Dion is the only candidate running for statewide treasurer.
If there is no objection, the convention will endorse Elizabeth Dion by acclamation. Hearing no objection, Elizabeth Dion is endorsed.
If there's no competition,
Elizabeth Dion is your endorsed candidate for treasurer.
she is your endorsed candidate for treasurer. Let me show you a picture of her because I have one. Oh, here she is. She's going to speak.
Elizabeth Dion.
The campaign manager for Elizabeth Dion is my friend Alex Haggerty. Let me get you some pics.
Select board member and taxpayer, and I'm running to be your next state treasurer. I will not be the treasurer for the insiders or special interest groups. I will be the taxpayer's treasurer who answers to you, a treasurer for the taxpayers who will restore accountability, transparency, and efficiency you deserve. I know how hard you work every day to make ends meet. I will work just as hard to ensure that your hard-earned tax dollars are used wisely, not wasted on political antennas or agendas. Every dollar saved is a dollar that can be returned to cities and towns to meet your local needs for roads, public safety, and education. We can do this. Join me, Elizabeth Dion, in this campaign for taxpayers' treasure.
Please welcome Elizabeth Dion.
All right, we don't want to get copyrighted, but she's doing This Girl Is on Fire. She is our female, and let me show you. We don't want to get copyrighted, so we're going to keep talking. Thank you, Mindy.
Delegates, I thank you for your presence here, and thank you for your nomination as Treasurer of the Great Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and I proudly accept. Thank you so much for being here. Democracy works only with engaged citizens, and I'm grateful for your time, your passion, and your commitment to the future of our great Commonwealth. I'm Elizabeth Dion, and I am running to be Massachusetts State Treasurer for one simple reason. We need, and you deserve, a treasurer who remembers that every dollar comes from a taxpayer's pocket. I am running to be your taxpayer's treasurer. That's right, a treasurer who answers to you, the taxpayers. Incumbent Deb Goldberg.
This is who's speaking right now. This is Elizabeth Dion. She is the official MassGOP endorsed candidate for treasurer. She is here with Alex Haggerty. He's a state committee man. He used to be an Abington Board of Health member. And he was also an Abington Board of Selectmen. He's running her campaign, and Elizabeth is here on stage accepting her nomination.
Because my husband Keith and I have 4 adult children who cannot afford to live and raise their children here in Massachusetts, and neither can their friends or classmates. We are hemorrhaging our youth, our workforce, our tax base, and our future. Massachusetts has become.
If you could do me a favor and share this, I think there are some people who aren't seeing this, unfortunately. Not sure why, but.
We plead with those voting with your feet.
Hi, Bestie.
Vote instead at the ballot box in November so we can save our state. I am a mother, an attorney, an educator, and a 10-year elected official in Belmont, where I served on the select board and I made a difference. For 10 years, first as a member of the finance committee, and then as a member of the select board, I scrubbed Belmont's budget. We modernized our finance team, consolidated departments, adopted long-term budgeting, reformed our pension investments, and streamlined our zoning code to encourage business and development. As select board chair, I worked with our school committee to control spending increases and deliver a revenue-based, balanced budget for the first time in decades. We are doing everything right in Belmont, and it is not enough. Municipalities face a financial tsunami from rising healthcare costs to unfunded education mandates. And the answer to our financial crisis is not to gut Prop 2.5. Since 2012, the state's budget has doubled, while local aid has increased only 25%. The State House has starved our communities of local aid while wasting billions of dollars. It doesn't have to be this way, and it starts with the Treasurer's Office, which is the single largest source of unrestricted local government aid. People forget that the state treasurer is a powerful position which controls up to 20% of the state budget and 20% of state assets. That's right, 20%. When a Democrat controls that much money, you know there's going to be trouble. We call this the Goldberg iceberg. Only 10% of an iceberg's mass appears above the ocean. The remaining 90% lurks deep. If the 10% we know about is bad, what about the remaining 90%? That, my friends, is the Goldberg iceberg. past 3 years, Goldberg has spent $300,000 on luxury travel. She also moved the lottery from Braintree to Dorchester, costing taxpayers another $20 million just to settle a personal political vendetta. Every dollar that Goldberg wastes is a dollar that can't go to local aid. As the taxpayer's treasurer, I will root out wasteful spending so the local aid goes back to cities, towns, and you, the taxpayers.
I know it's hard to tell, but
In
the
August,
whole arena
State
is
Auditor
full.
Diana
The floor is
Deon
full.
issued a
Everybody behind me is full.
excoriating
All the seats are
the
full.
Cannabis Control Commission,
Thank you.
which until last week was under the treasurer's control for lack of
So
financial
lots
controls
of people here.
and
A
failing
lot.
to protect public safety. Last November, we learned that a Georgia man had stolen over $1 million from the treasurer's unclaimed property division. That's why my first act as your taxpayer's treasurer will be to audit all 12 departments in the treasurer's office. We will find out what is lurking in the Goldberg iceberg, and we will clean it up. The nightmare with the Cannabis Control Commission doesn't end with the audit. You have seen the headlines of Goldberg falsely accusing Commissioner Shannon O'Brien of racism. Goldberg's latest political vendetta cost us millions of dollars in wasted legal fees and 2 more years of reform. Goldberg has shown us time and again that she will abuse power and waste our tax dollars to protect her cronies. It is time to vote this career politician out of office. As your taxpayer's treasurer, I pledge to you that I will cut wasteful spending, open the treasurer's books, and end the cronyism plaguing the treasurer's office. I will clean up the Goldberg iceberg. But I cannot do it alone. I need your help. So please pull out your phone and go to votetodeon.com. Sign up to receive our emails and to volunteer for us. Together, we can take back our state. If you believe in limited government spending, if you believe in transparency, if you believe in rooting out cronyism and patronage, and if you believe that we need a treasurer who will always put taxpayers first, then I ask for your vote. Together, let's give Massachusetts a taxpayer's treasurer who will protect our future and respect the people who fund it. Together, we can take back Massachusetts. God bless the United States of America. God bless our Commonwealth, and God bless each one of you. Thank you.
Everybody is standing for Elizabeth. She gave a great speech. She talked about the iceberg of spending. People are still standing for her. John Deon spoke. I missed some of that, but he's a very powerful speaker. He also had a large standing ovation. Carrie McRae is here. I don't know if anybody knows Carrie, but she's from, I believe, down the Cape. She just walked by.
Delegates, please welcome back to the stage co-chair Senator Bruce Todd.
I want it.
The chair now recognizes Diana Deon, a delegate from Winthrop, for the purpose of placing the name of Michael Walsh in nomination for this convention's endorsement for the office of Attorney General.
So currently what's happening, because
Good afternoon,
is
fellow citizens.
if there is
delegates, and
nobody
esteemed
that
colleagues.
needs to have a vote,
Today it is
they are
my
properly
great honor
announced,
to nominate Michael Walsh for
nominated,
Attorney General
and then
of the Commonwealth
accepted
of
by
Massachusetts.
everybody.
I am not represented by the leadership on Beacon Hill, and neither are you. And when we raise our voices, not only are we ignored, we are met with Andrea Campbell's protectionism of the very people misappropriating our tax dollars for political agendas, initiatives, normalizing dark money nonprofits like One Commonwealth to meddle with our local elections, and launching dishonest propaganda campaigns in attempts to take away our rights to zone locally. Andrea Campbell is blocking our audit because it benefits her to do so. It is one hand feeding another. With about a dozen active cases fighting for the people against Campbell's destructive program, one man, Michael Walsh, stepped up against this abuse of the Office of the Attorney General, against those who laid waste to the Commonwealth's top law enforcement office in their quest for personal gain. Michael Walsh has taken on the Commonwealth's entrenched regime of voice silencers on every major legal issue that matters. Michael Walsh has the intellect, the heart, the guts, the selflessness, and the drive to heed this call, not for the glory, not by a long shot, knowing this would be an uphill battle, but because it was the right thing to do. It was a calling. Michael Walsh is the only one who should hold this seat. It's time to return the Attorney General's office to the people, to restore honor, uphold the rule of law, and place a check on power-hungry political climbers by electing the one person committed to ensuring fairness and integrity at every level of state government. Like many of you, I am mad as hell, and I'm not going to take it anymore. Stop the pillaging of Beacon Hill, of our towns and cities, and of our paychecks by joining me today and supporting Michael Walsh for Massachusetts Attorney General. Thank you.
Under the rules, I must now ask for a second, and the chair recognizes Greg Richards, a delegate from Shrewsbury, for the purpose of seconding the nomination.
Mr. Chairman, I'm Greg Richards, delegate from Shrewsbury, and I second the name of Michael Walsh for the office of Attorney General. I stand before you today not simply as a convention delegate, but as a select board member who has seen up close and personally the real damage that can be done to our municipalities when the office of Attorney General fails the people it's sworn to serve. I have watched malfeasance go unchecked. I have seen communities bear the burden of an Attorney General more interested in protecting the powerful than defending the public, and I am mad as hell. That is why I'm proud to rise and second the nomination of Michael Walsh. Michael Walsh did not wait for someone else to speak up. He stepped forward and challenged the Attorney General with courage, intensity, and determination, not for headlines, not for personal glory, but because it was simply the right thing to do. He fought quietly and relentlessly, without fanfare, without self-serving press releases, just principled, focused action. That tells you everything you need to know about this man. Trust in this office has been broken. Restoring it will require someone with the intellect to navigate complexity, the practicality to get results, and the decency to always put people first. Michael Walsh brings all three. Delegates, the choice before us is clear. Do we want an Attorney General who serves politicians, or one who serves the people? I say it's time for the people's attorney, not the politician's protector. Please join me in supporting Michael Walsh.
Are there further nominations? Hearing none, the chair declares that the name of Michael Walsh is now before this convention. And if there is no objection, the convention will endorse Michael Walsh by acclamation. Hearing no objection, and to the contrary, significant enthusiasm, Michael Walsh is the endorsed candidate of your GOP convention. It gives me great pleasure to introduce and present to you the next Attorney General of our Commonwealth, Michael Walsh.
The prosecutor said over $1 billion in food stamps and COVID unemployment benefits were spent fraudulently. More viewers have reached out trying to understand why their bills have doubled in recent months.
I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of the chair. I want you to get up right now. Oh, I know it's been fun. Got to get back.
Say it again. I'll go.
We did not go to court saying 72% voted in favor of it.
Jeffrey's here. We're going to go into the press room and have some lunch. I will be back in 10 minutes. I'm going to turn this around so you can see everybody.
Stick your head out and get on. I'm as mad as hell, but I'm not going to take this anymore.
Please welcome Michael Walsh.
Thank you all, but I want to tell you that I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take it anymore. Are you mad? If you want change, you need to vote for it. If you want a constructive government, you need to vote for it. If you want to get shit done, you have to vote for it. My name is Mike Walsh, and I'm running for Attorney General. I'm running primarily with the belief that an Attorney General should be a prosecutor and a guardian of the law, not an ideologue or someone pushing a personal and partisan agenda. We need to restore the rule of law and ensure that it is applied equally without fear or favor. I am a triple male, a proud graduate of Suffolk University. I have a bachelor's degree in political science from 2006, a law degree from 2010, and an LLM from 2014. And before that, I attended North Shore Community College and got an associate's degree. I'm a general practice litigator. Like most solo practitioners, I do a little bit of everything, and mostly whatever walks through the door. Donating my time to veterans every year has been some of the best things I've ever done, but it's taken me some interesting places, like court martials, the separation boards, or QMP panels on behalf of the Army and the greater military. But what I want to tell you is, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take it anymore. And that is why I'm humbly asking for your nomination as for Attorney General. We need to change the way we do business and change the way we do government. Because if we in this room do not save the voters from the present administration, they will never forgive us. And if we cannot deliver what 72% of the people vote for, then we are helpless. So I'm as mad as hell that we don't have an audit. And I think you are too. Are you? Elect me, and I will deliver the audit that Andrea Campbell has illegally chosen to bury. This will take a fight, but I promise you I'm up for the job.
Shining the light of transparency will drive away the demons of corruption. For the record, the only reason that we don't have an audit is because the Attorney General won't enforce the auditor's summons for records against the legislature. That's it. This isn't a governor problem. It isn't an auditor problem. It's not a people problem. It's not even a legislative problem. The current Attorney General is the only reason that we don't already have an audit. This is a corruption of our system. It's a corruption of our principles. It's a corruption of our democratic government. Beacon Hill is just plain corrupt. Checks and balances are supposed to protect us from that, but they don't work when the people in power protect the guilty. Our auditor, for example, has accused Andrea Campbell of conspiring with the legislature, of quid pro quo bribery, and of public corruption. That simply cannot stand. We cannot be robbed by state officials who line their own pockets in darkness. So who are you going to believe? What you're told or your very own lying eyes? I am as mad as hell about top-down mandates like MBT's own. If you think about it, runaway bureaucracy is trying to tell you what your town should look like. I'm as mad as hell that the government is nibbling away at our freedoms, and our liberty, and our home rule, and our safety, our property values, and even the very fabrics of our communities. So are you as mad as hell yet? When you vote for an attorney general, you are hiring a lawyer to represent you, the people. And that lawyer needs to look out for the public interest. That lawyer needs to advance the public causes, be just, and most of all, be an advocate for the public safety. But our current attorney general is too busy suing the president. She's pushing a personal and partisan agenda. In fact, she's so busy doing that she isn't doing her job as attorney general. We don't have an audit. We don't have low utility bills. We don't have safe streets. We don't even have a fearless advocate. Instead, we have a partisan hack who came up as a politician and not a litigator. Our current attorney general is too busy suing cities and towns. She's inflicting costs, fears, and even terrors on our town halls, all while tearing away at our local property tax base. And we're just tired of it. It is not enough, though, that I'm as mad as hell. You need to get mad, too. You need to be ready to holler from the rooftops, to stick your head out the window and yell, and most of all, to fight for a better future. Are you mad enough to join me? We need to get as mad as hell. We need to tell Beacon Hill that we're just not going to take it anymore. The Attorney General needs to support the police and prosecutors. The Attorney General needs to follow the rule of law and apply it faithfully, whether they like it or not. The Attorney General should be preventing disasters like Kearney Hospital or the Karen Reed trial. The Attorney General, most of all, needs to be a proponent of what is right and what is just, even if it be unpopular. The Attorney General should hold the Declaration of Independence as their creed, the Constitution as their very gospel, and the law as their sacred charge. When you don't have those things, our society falls apart. Our government doesn't have trust. People begin to wonder about corruption. They begin to feel that they need an audit. When you don't have those things, people get mad. And when you don't have them for a long time, people get as mad as hell. Jefferson was a tad bit more eloquent. He said that after a long training of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evince a design to induce a people under absolute despotism, it is their right and their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their safety, future security. That, ladies and gentlemen, is what you are picking in November. New guards for your liberty and your security and your government. Officials who are honest and will work in your interest and not their own. Lawmakers who will legislate for you, and prosecutors who will prosecute crooks for you, and public servants who serve you. So who do you think will serve you best, and your neighbors? I promise you I will. Here, in the 250th anniversary of our Declaration of Independence, we are reminded of its very unique and solemn importance. It tells us that governments are instituted amongst men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. Do you feel that your consent is being honored when we still do not have an audit? When elected, I will be a people's lawyer. We will wage a ruthless war on fraud and waste and abuse, starting with that audit. We will provide teeth to the investigations by our auditor and our inspector general and others. We will make sure that criminals are punished and that fraudsters pay back the state their ill-gotten gains. We will revitalize the False Claims Act. We will police hospitals and nursing homes to keep our elderly both safe and solvent. When elected, we will protect home rule and keep municipalities safe from MBK zoning and other unfunded mandates. When elected, we will revitalize our criminal justice system. We will work tirelessly to protect victims, to protect the police while they stop crime, and to punish perpetrators. We will make the law clear and accessible to the public, most of all because it does not require a law degree to know what is right and what is wrong. People cannot consent to a government if they cannot understand the terms of the contract. And stonewalling an audit is one of the things that defies the consent of the people. Oligarchs and bureaucrats at Beacon Hill are defying the voters and forgetting where their authority comes from. You, the voters. I have worked with people. I have donated time to people being crushed by government, people wrongly accused of crimes, or people who are having their houses destroyed by a developer or taken by a greedy bank. I've worked to keep government honest and in its lane through public records litigation and open meeting law enforcement, and trying to enforce the audit through the courts and trying to fight MBK zoning. I volunteered time to help veterans and to help families who are crushed by careless city government. I've toured the state, meeting people all over who are afraid of the state taking over their zoning and developers taking over their backyard. The we in this endeavor is you and me, because I have a vision of safer streets, lower utility bills, lower tax bills, a more transparent government, and laws that work for the people and not against them. So are you mad yet? Some people look at the world that is and say why, and others look at the world that might be and say why not. It's a famous Bobby Kennedy quote. If you see a better world like me, if you hope for a better future like me, then we must ask why not. And if you don't like that answer, you must get as mad as hell, and you must tell Beacon Hill that you just won't take it anymore. So, demand your audit, demand transparency, demand home rule, and most of all, demand change. We should all be mad. So get mad and then vote. My name is Mike Walsh, and I'm running against Andrea Campbell. And with your help, I'll be the next Attorney General. And then we'll start working on our audit, and then Beacon Hill will know just why we are, in fact, as mad as hell.
Delegates, please welcome Co-Chair Representative David Baradian.
Well, we might be wearing the same suit and the same tie, but I am not State Representative David Baradian. But we interrupt this program for just a brief bit of housekeeping. You see, because as Republicans, we do believe in the rule of law, and we do believe in accountability. That is the way that we will conduct this convention, the way that we conduct our lives. And so to make sure that we have everyone informed and everyone accounted for, we are going to do a supplemental credentials report to account for everyone who has been admitted into this convention as a delegate. And to make the motion for that supplemental credentials report, we have Sid Starks. Sid, podium is yours.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we currently have 2,378 delegates, and that is the final tally. Mr. Chairman, I move that we accept these delegates.
Thank you, Sid. Brief clarification, that is the number of registered delegates. And the motion has been made. We would like to do this by acclamation. Hearing any objection? Hearing none, by acclamation, the supplemental credentials report is accepted. Thank you. And because we also, as Republicans, believe in following the rule of law, we want to make sure that everyone is included in our discussion of the rules which were adopted earlier, before many people were in this hall. So the rules were distributed, they were adopted, but more people are in the room, and we want to make sure that everyone is participating in the adoption of those rules. So again, if there is no objection, the chair will consider the rules which were adopted earlier to be adopted and confirmed. Hearing no objection, and by acclamation, the rules are considered adopted. Thank you very much. And now, back to my friend and colleague, the Great State Representative, David Moradian.
So earlier today, the candidates for Lieutenant Governor met with party officials to determine nomination and speaking order. First will be Neil Blader. I'd love to tell you as soon as the teleprompter catches up with me. I went too quick. We're efficient. We're really efficient. It's a great thing, this party. It'll be for Ann Manning Martin. And the chair now recognizes Monica Medeiros-Solano, delegate from Melrose, for the purpose of placing the name of Ann Manning Martin from Peabody in nomination for this convention's endorsement for the office of Lieutenant Governor.
Thank you, Chairman Moradian. Good afternoon, fellow delegates. My name is Monica Medeiros-Solano, the Republican State Committee woman from the 5th Middlesex District. I rise today in support of my friend, Ann Manning Martin. Ann is not just experienced, she is forged in service. Throughout her 34 years in law enforcement, Ann has protected our communities with grit, courage, and an unshakable commitment to public safety. When the tough fights came, Ann didn't back down. She stepped in and she won. For 19 years on the Peabody City Council, Ann has been the fiscal guardrail that taxpayers depend on. Before that, she spent 8 years on the Peabody City Council, standing firmly with parents and students. She has fought for veterans, for vulnerable families, and for every resident who deserves a government that works for them. I've known Ann for more than 2 decades. As a former Melrose City Councilor, I watched her leadership up close. When colleagues needed help, Ann showed up. She became the go-to resource, especially when it came to supporting common sense and defending the people she serves. Ann's life is rooted in service. To Peabody, to our Commonwealth, to the taxpayers, and to our party. She has strengthened our ranks by recruiting, training, and supporting new Republican candidates. Growing representation, Republican representation, on the Peabody City Council from just 1 member to 3. Ann Manning Martin is a leader defined by loyalty, courage, and results. My fellow Republicans, I am honored to nominate Ann Manning Martin from the great city of Peabody to be our next Lieutenant Governor.
Under the rules, I must ask for a second. The chair now recognizes Carrie McCray, delegate from Bourne, for the purpose of seconding the nomination.
Hello, fellow Republicans. Hello, fellow conservatives. My name is Carrie McCray. I am from Bourne. You might say I am born-again conservative. I'm a school committee member, a candidate for state senate, a proud and unapologetic conservative, and most importantly, a 3-time President Trump voter. And today, it is my honor to second the nomination of someone cut from the same cloth, a fighter, a public servant, a no-nonsense, law and order leader who doesn't back down and will never back down, doesn't apologize, and doesn't compromise when it comes to defending our communities and protecting our people. Like so many of us, like me, she's a 3-time President Trump voter also. As Republican activists, that should matter to you. As an unapologetic conservative, that certainly matters to me. She understands that conservative values aren't just words, they are a way of life. For 34 years, Ann has worn the badge, stood on the front lines, and kept our community safe. For 27 years, she has served her city with fiscal discipline and accountability, treating every taxpayer dollar like it matters, because she knows it does. She doesn't hide, she doesn't spin, she leads. She's my kind of candidate. Massachusetts needs leaders with strength, the right principles, and common sense. We need real leaders who will stand up for the feckless Beacon Hill power brokers and restore law and order and audit the legislature. There is only one conservative choice for Lieutenant Governor, a woman who will fight for our shared values. It is my privilege to second the nomination of Ann Manning Martin for Lieutenant Governor.
The chair declares that the name of Ann Manning Martin is before this convention.
I'm Ann Manning Martin, and I can't wait to take that stage to take the next step to retiring Maura Healey and Kim Driscoll. I can't wait to tell you a little bit about my background and how Mike Keneally and I are gonna clean house on Beacon Hill. I love the Commonwealth, I love the people, and I love our party. That's why I've been a public servant my entire career, both on the school committee in Peabody and the city council, and many years in law enforcement. This is my home. When things get tough, I don't run from a fight, I square off. That's why when Mike Keneally asked me to join his ticket, there was only one answer. Hell yes, because this state may never recover from 4 more years of the Healey-Driscoll woke administration. So friends, thank you for being here today. We got a lot of work to do, and you can trust that Mike Keneally and I will stand with you in this fight. Let's go.
welcome Ann Manning Martin.
Hello, my fellow Republicans. Thank you, Monica Madero Solano, and our next state senator from the great Plymouth and Barnstable District, Carrie McCray, for nominating me today. Thank you to the staff here at the DCU Center, especially the first responders, keeping us safe. And thank you, fellow Republicans, for giving up your Saturday for something really important. My name is Ann Manning Martin, and usually I don't need a microphone because I'm very loud. When you're a fifth-generation Peabodyite, a 34-year law enforcement professional, someone who's stood up for taxpayers on the school committee and city council, and someone who's voted for Donald Trump 3 times, you get pretty comfortable speaking up, even when it isn't popular. So let me be clear, my life has been shaped by tough fights. I grew up hearing my mother, who died when I was just 9 years old, tell stories of fighting for a $2 a day wage increase on the picket line at the Lynn GE factory. I stand up to thugs. I don't tolerate bullies, and I'm not afraid for 1 second of what the Massachusetts liberal machine will throw at us. In fact, I've seen it firsthand. When I was diagnosed with cancer, Deval Patrick demoted me from my position at the Department of Correction, and it was all politics. So I took that fight to Beacon Hill, and I won. And I'm ready to take that same fight back to Beacon Hill. Now I'm running for Lieutenant Governor because I'm sick of Maura Healey.
This is Ann Manning Martin.
Go.
She is the running
We
mate
know
of
she
Mike
loves to take
Neely.
vacations where we're not allowed to know where she is. So let's send her on a permanent one. I've been reelected in Peabody year after year because I look out for my neighbors, and they know they can trust me. That's why I voted against the NBTA Communities Act. And they know I spend taxpayer dollars the same way I spend my own. And that's only when I have to. So let me tell you something, in Peabody and in local government, you don't get to hide from the people you serve, especially when you're looking for their votes. You don't get to duck responsibility. You don't get to blame somebody else. And if you don't tell the truth, you face the music. Because the people you serve, they are your neighbors. You see them at the grocery store, at church, at your kids' games, when you're getting your coffee at 7-Eleven, which has the best coffee, by the way. 7-Eleven. And if you're not doing your job, they let you know. They don't pull any punches, and that's okay, because neither do I. That's accountability, that's leadership,
Society.
and that's exactly what is missing on Beacon Hill. Right now, Massachusetts families are getting crushed by sky-high energy bills, crushed by taxes, crushed by a cost of living that drives people out of our state. Maura Healey doesn't think we know what's going on. She thinks she's pulling one over on us, and she thinks she's smarter than us. She talks to us like we're in kindergarten. She tells you not to worry about the energy bills by explaining it away with Dunkin' Munchkins. So let's talk to Maura Healey the way she talks to us. Maura, people don't like taxes. Murderers belong behind bars. Governors shouldn't hire drug dealers. Boys don't get to play girls' sports. And illegal immigration is illegal. And Mara, when you're bad at your job, you get fired. And that's why we're all here, to fire you. And what are Mara Healey and Lieutenant Governor Driscoll doing? They're jamming liberal policies down our throats, growing government, and asking you to pay more for less. That's not leadership, that's failure. I've spent over 3 decades in law enforcement. I've seen what happens when leaders look the other way. When bad behavior and moral failing go unchecked. When they make excuses instead of decisions. When they put politics ahead of people. And right now we are seeing it play out across Massachusetts. Let me be crystal clear. Democrats on Beacon Hill do not care about our laws. And Mara Healey cannot and will not keep our communities safe. It is the most basic responsibility of government to protect the citizens of Massachusetts. We need leaders who will stand up for law-abiding families, who will back our police, who will enforce our laws. And I'll tell you this, we need leadership that is tough, clear-eyed, and willing to stand up and say enough is enough. The parole board is stacked with professionals whose careers were built on keeping offenders out of prison. The Judicial Nominating Commission is filled with the same circles, shaping a pipeline of activist judges who are not holding violent offenders accountable and refuse to work with ICE.
Currently speaking is Ann
This
Manning Martin.
all must
She's a city
change.
councilor from Peabody,
And this isn't an
and she's
accident.
running as
It
lieutenant
reflects the
governor with
priorities
Mike
of the
Keneally.
Healey-Driscoll administration. As your next lieutenant governor, I will chair the governor's council and ensure that balance on these boards is restored. It's time for a complete overhaul of the parole board and the JNC. New members, real balance, and a mandate that puts victims and public safety first. That is why I am proud to stand with Mike Keneally. Mike knows how to grow an economy. He knows how to create jobs. Because unlike Mara Healey, he's actually done it. He knows how to take on the big government interest, slash bureaucracy, and reverse failure. Because he did it when he turned around the Lawrence Public Schools. He knows how to stand up for what's important and what he believes in, even when it isn't popular. And most importantly, he knows how to lead. Together, we're going to bring common sense back to Massachusetts. We're going to fight for affordability. We're going to restore accountability. And we're going to rebuild trust in our government. Thank you. But let me be clear, this isn't just about winning an election. This is about saving our state. A state where families can afford to stay, where businesses can grow, and people feel safe. Where government works for the people, not the other way around. So I'm asking you, stand with us, fight with us, and let's send a message loud and clear. Massachusetts is not for sale. Our future belongs to us, and we are taking it back. God bless you all. and God bless America. Thank you.
That is Ann Manning Martin. She is a city councilor. She's a city councilor from Peabody. She, I think, has served for 19 years on the city council there. And she is
recognizes State Representative Mike Soder,
now
delegate
running
from
as a
Bellevue,
running mate for Mike
purpose
Keneally.
of
She's
placing the name
seeking to be your next
Sean
lieutenant governor.
from New Bedford in nomination for this
So,
convention's endorsement
you know,
for
my
the
take on
office
this
of
is
lieutenant governor.
Ann Manning Martin actually had a fantastic speech. I think it's probably the best one that I've heard today. I don't think she's getting the applause that she really deserves because people are withholding for Minogue.
I am proud to
I'm a
place
practical girl.
into nomination New Bedford City Councilor Sean Oliver.
Here's our New Bedford guy, Sean.
Beacon Hill has a problem, and most of the people in this room already know what it is. Too many so-called leaders who never had to answer to constituents face to face, never had to sit across the table from a family that couldn't afford their heating bill and explain what they're going to do
There's
about
a
it.
lady here
Never
who
had
does
to govern,
not like me. She's right in front of me.
where the results are visible and accountability is real.
Oh, I want to say something so
That's what
badly.
municipal government demands. You either deliver
She has
for your
been the
community or you didn't.
meanest
There is no hiding.
to me of all
That's
time.
exactly the kind of experience that is missing with the Haley administration. Sean Oliver has the real life experiences we need. Sean is a first-generation American, born and raised in New Bedford. He built
She's
his
a hot
life
mess
through
right
hard
now.
work and a deep
No, not the
sense of
girl that lied about the
responsibility.
article. I got to get
And
to
that
that.
same character led
So,
him to a career as corrections officer
earlier this
and
morning, we're on our way
eventually
in,
to the New Bedford City
and I get a
Council.
notification from this
Sean
woman
Oliver connects.
who shared my Blue Hub story and said, shame on me and Mike Urban, we didn't credit Nardella Thomas for the fight on Blue Hub. And I commented back and I said, listen, I said, I don't have time for this on my way. I assumed she was like some sort of Democrat. I said, I'm on my way to the convention. I'll deal with this later. I'm in line getting ready to get checked in. And there's a woman behind me. And she's like, are you Jess Machado? And I said, I am. I didn't know who she was. So she's like, you know, the people behind Mass Daily News are here. I said, oh, really? And she goes, yeah, she's right over there. And I said, listen, I'm just going to tell you, that's not accurate. That's not who's behind Mass Daily News. And she's like, no, that's definitely her. And I said, it's not. I said, but okay. So I'm, so I'm like, this lady's just being a little odd. So a few minutes later, she goes, you know, you didn't give Nardella Thomas credit for the Blue Hub story. And I went, are you Rachel? And she goes, yeah. I said, you just tweeted about me this morning? You're a Republican? And she's like, yeah. And I said, okay. I said, I did credit Nardella Thomas. I said, I interviewed Nardella Thomas on one of my shows. She goes, no, you didn't. I was like, what are you talking about? I was like, I was speaking with Nardella Thomas all the time. Nardella Thomas was a homeowner who actually sued Blue Hub. She is the one that reached out to me when mainstream media wouldn't cover the story. And like, so fine. So she starts getting mouthy, and she's like, this, you didn't give her credit. You're not a real journalist. So then I took a step towards her, and I said, listen, what you think is, I said, what you think is going to happen here is not going to happen. I said, why don't you focus on being here and being a delegate?
He knows how to build, grow,
and leave me alone. So she continues to get mouthy, and we had words back and forth. And I was like, and then she does this thing. She goes, turn around, I'm not talking to you. I said, you called my name and asked me to address you. That's what I'm doing. Oh, hi, Mazza.
And how to win. And that's what this is about. Not just making a statement, but winning. Winning back our state, winning back opportunity, and giving families and businesses a reason to say.
So we got wordsy.
Sean Oliver is
I haven't seen her here. I don't know where she's from. Boston, I guess. I don't really even know.
In supporting and voting for the short
This
sleeve
is
Oliver ticket. Thank you.
This is Mayor Sean O'Connell from Taunton.
The chair declares that the name of Sean Oliver is before this very convention.
Okay, we're gonna. So Sean Oliver's name is before the convention. Now Sean Oliver is going to be speaking. Sean Oliver is from New Bedford. He's a city council member. And he's working the crowd like a serious, legit politician right now. Looks like he's been doing this for a long time. First time at the convention for Sean Oliver.
Wow. Good afternoon, Massachusetts GOP.
Okay, smiling,
Thank
happy.
you to all the delegates and the guests that are here and all the campaigns for all their hard work. Are you ready to end the one-party rule on Beacon Hill?
Shauna,
Are you
can we take a
ready
pic? How are you?
to take back our state?
Thank you.
Are you ready to beat Maura Healey and Kim Driscoll this November?
Oh, Shauna O'Connell just walked by. Sean Oliver is on stage. We just wanted to get a picture of her and her
I am
husband.
running to be your next Lieutenant Governor of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. I'm Sean Oliver. I'm a husband, a father, a grandfather, a corrections officer, and a New Bedford City Councilor. But more than anything, like you, I'm someone who has seen and lived consequences on how our state is being run. My story starts in Portugal, in a modest home with no indoor plumbing, and a decision to chase the American dream. You see, my grandparents came to the United States. They had exactly $5 in their pockets.
Say hi to everybody.
They didn't come with their hands out. What's up, Republican? They came with their sleeves rolled up.
That's Alex. He's Elizabeth Dion's campaign manager.
Looking for a fighting chance and to become true Americans. I'm the first generation of my family born here, raised on a simple truth.
You know, part of me is thinking,
is a privilege earned through
part of me
hard
is
work,
thinking that many people
not an
here
entitlement
don't really
seized by
get
cutting the
Sean
line
Oliver.
or
What's
breaking our
happened in
laws.
Bristol County is almost 100% red. We've moved it from blue to red over the past 4 years. And Sean Oliver kind of epitomizes what a Republican in Bristol County is right now. Longtime Democrat, but recognize that the party doesn't
That's not just where
meet the needs of regular families, especially in Bristol County. So Sean changed parties and has really been able to kind of resonate with people in Bristol County and New Bedford. He's very well received on this ticket with Brian Shortsleeve, and he's definitely carrying Bristol County for Brian, who doesn't spend a lot of time here because he's from the Cape.
That determination
Sean's doing a lot of the
led me to
heavy
a life
lifting
of
down here,
public
but he's
service.
very well liked,
For nearly
and
a decade
it
and a half,
it kind of
I've
works.
proudly
You know what I mean?
worn the uniform of a corrections officer here in the state of Massachusetts. And in that time, I've seen the harsh realities that most politicians don't even talk about. Policies like free inmate phone calls and cashless bail that are costing you, the taxpayers, millions of dollars. I've watched our jails and prisons be emptied by the Healy-Driscoll administration and their judges and parole board as they release some of the most violent criminals who should still be behind bars back on our streets and into our neighborhoods. And as a first-generation American, it absolutely disgusts me that of these sanctuary city and state policies. It is an insult to every worker paying the bills and every homeless veteran that has been left behind. But at the same time, our state manages a $63 billion budget, and it treats your paychecks like its personal ATM, and the cost of living continues to climb, while the Healy-Driscoll administration talks about success. Families like mine are feeling that pressure every single day. We're forced into difficult decisions. Like when my son was diagnosed with autism and my wife had to step away from her career to give him the care that he deserved. And we're not alone. Families all across Massachusetts are being pushed to the edge. Businesses are closing, and our young people are leaving. Heck, that little girl that I had when I was 17, she did it. She couldn't afford to stay in Massachusetts and is living over the border in Rhode Island. As a father, that disgusts me. And when folks like that leave, they take with them the talent and ambitions of the future of our state. That's the reality that we're living today. We're exporting our future. Because Beacon Hill has made it nearly impossible for the next generation to build a life here, to start a business here, or to find their own path to independence in the very communities that they called home. As an elected official, I've seen up close and personal. I've watched state leadership turn their backs
I'm first
on us
generation
while
in my
our
family to
property
work
taxes
upright.
continue to
Are you on?
skyrocket.
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
Guys, this is Phil from the K-Zone.
Just telling silly jokes. Hello. My hair looks a little better here. I didn't bring a hairbrush.
Cities and towns
You get
that are
cute hair.
simply
Well,
trying
thank
to
you.
do what's right
Again,
by
hello,
their
besties, bunnies. Keep the faith.
And people all across the Commonwealth are looking for answers. That's why I made the choice. You see, though conservative, I was a long time unenrolled. And last year, it became clear that there was only one party left that stands for the workers, that stands for families, and stands for the truth. That's why I became a Republican, and why I voted for the president all 3 times.
Yeah, Sean.
And let's be clear, the short sleeve Oliver ticket is the only team on this stage today that can say that. We're the only ticket that can actually beat Maura Healey and Kim Driscoll this November. Because like me, Brian Shortsleeve is a fighter. He proved it, graduating from Harvard and choosing to join the Marines over Wall Street.
Mark Lombardo has been talking to Jim Lyons for about. Get over here.
Which are the soul of our economy here in Massachusetts.
That boy Seth Akins.
And he proved it at the MBTA when he rolled up his sleeves, took control of a broken system.
Say hi to the
and exposed
Hey,
millions
Seth
of
Akins,
dollars
the candidate for
in
Worcester County
corruption,
DA. This
waste,
is
and
awesome. And
abuse.
Sean's doing great.
He is.
This is such a good day for Republicans.
Yes.
So,
Exciting.
really
Your
exciting.
first convention?
That same accountability
Yeah.
to all of state
It's
government.
yeah,
For the
love
illegal,
it. Parties were great last
for the
night.
legal
Everyone was
immigrants.
amazing. Met some incredible people. So
did it
yeah,
the
really
right
good.
way like my
So
grandparents.
anyway, great to see you.
For the workers who are watching their paychecks disappear by Friday. For
This
our
is Seth
seniors
Aiken. He is a
who have
Republican
done their
candidate
part,
for
but are being
sheriff.
taxed
I'm
out
sorry.
of their homes. For every family that
I'm listening
refuses
to
give
Sean.
up,
He is a Republican
now have
candidate
a
for
real
district
choice.
attorney in Bristol County.
give
He started his
Massachusetts
campaign last
same
year
fighting
and has
chance
been working
my
pretty hard
grandparents gave me.
to get his name out
So I
there.
ask you,
Probably one of the best
for your
candidates
vote,
I've ever come across in the
because
party.
Massachusetts can't
Very
afford to wait.
organized,
Thank you.
focused.
God bless you. God bless Massachusetts. And God bless America.
Shauna was a good speaker. He spoke well. Mark Lombardo has been hugging Jim Lyons' wife, for the longest. Something's going on right now. The Mike Minogue team are all heading. It's coordinated. The Mike Minogue team, they all have headsets on. They all have on construction hats and yellow jackets. And they all just started making a move to the front. I'm assuming that their candidate for lieutenant governor, Ann Bresley, will be up next. So they have all moved to the front where there's kind of like a pit where everybody is doing hype. The problem I'm having with that is these people aren't from here.
The chair now recognizes
They're paid.
Julie Hall, delegate from Attleboro, for the purpose of placing
Those of you here in Somerset, Julie Hall, who has run for Congress. Yeah, so they're going to be announcing Ann Bresley right now.
for the office.
She is the person that is going to be running on the same ticket with Mike Minogue.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, fellow Republicans, to all the people that
Julie
made this
Hall
happen.
is dressed as, I think, George
Well, I
Washington.
can see that they're keeping the best for last. So here I am. My name is Colonel Julie Hall from the United States Air Force. I've been retired. I had the honor of serving our country for over 30 years. And I stand before you today very, very proud to nominate Ann Bresley for Lieutenant Governor. When I first met Ann, I'll be honest with you, I never heard of her. In politics, candidates come and go. And for an office as important as Lieutenant Governor, I simply wished her well and didn't think much more about it. But then something happened. I kept saying her everywhere. I said, who is this person that's going out on her own? That takes a lot of effort to do something. She was out night after night at large events with over 100 people and at small
Maybe it's
artistic
recording?
meetings with just 5 or 6. She didn't
I saw her.
She was always listening, engaged, showing up when it wasn't easy,
Okay, thank
when
you.
it
I was
wasn't
thinking.
convenient, and when no one was watching. And that got my attention. Because I know what real work looks like. In the Air Force, you quickly learn leadership isn't about
Yeah, so the Minogue people
It's not
are
about
just,
following the crowd or
it's
protecting the
unfortunate.
status quo. It's about stepping forward.
What a lot of
like
people
Ann
don't
did
understand is
when others
everybody in
hesitate.
this room is a sure thing
It's
to vote
about doing
against Maura
what's
Healey.
right,
There's nobody in this
even
room
when
that's
it's
voting for Maura
uncomfortable.
Healey. So
It's
it's a
about
sure thing
mission
here. It's outside of this room.
convenience
Hi,
every
bestie.
single time.
One of the besties is here.
That's exactly what
what I saw.
It's the outside this room. It's the unenrolled. It's the
She doesn't
Democrats,
just show up. She stands up.
and
She
it's I
challenges
think
the way things
so
have always been
hard
done.
for people to
She
get that big
refuses to
picture.
accept that's
That the
just
most
how it is.
popular Republican
As it is.
amongst the Republicans
And when something is wrong,
does not mean that's going to be the
doesn't look
most
the other way.
popular candidate
Takes it
amongst
on, head on.
unenrolleds.
Other candidates talk about change. Anne is willing
And
to
a lot of
fight.
people just don't get it.
Every candidate that you've heard,
And we lived through it already once.
they talk about
You know what I
supporting
mean?
the
So,
But Anne is actually suing to enforce.
Yum, 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 yum.
And in her case has actually gone farther than anybody else's.
once we're done with the lieutenant candidates, I'm going to stop live streaming and I'm going to go join my delegation so we can vote together.
That's the plan you take when you have.
And we'll see what happens after this. But yeah, I know Phil is great.
Refuse to back down. That is tenacity. That is leadership.
Unenrolled is the largest party, and it is the only way to beat Maura Healey. You don't need the 10% of registered voters in Massachusetts who are registered Republican. You need those, but what you really need is you need the 60% of unenrolleds. And that's really kind of what we are thinking about here.
But when it's hard. Anne Brensley has already proven that she will do that. So today, my fellow Republicans, I am proud
Delegate from Whitman,
Oh shit.
for the purpose of seconding the nomination.
The person seconding the nomination is
Madam Chair, and
Kathy
my fellow
Jo
Republican
Boss
delegates.
Deal,
My
Jeff
name is
Deal's
Kathy
wife.
Boss, Republican
The
state
last time
woman,
Republicans had a
and I am
convention,
proud to stand before
Kathy
you
Jo is on the
today
stage
to
as the
second
wife of the
nomination
nominee for the
Ann
Republican
Brensley
Party,
for Lieutenant
and they
Governor.
lost miserably.
I am fully supporting
So
Ann because
we've
I
got
know she has what it takes
basically delusion
fight,
on the stage right now.
and
Delulu.
to stand for what matters
This is
most.
Delulu. Why are we doing this
For
again?
me, that
You
starts
you
with our
spoke the
children.
last time
Ann and
with
I
such
share
confidence
something very
that you
important
guys
in
were going to.
common. We're both mothers.
Oh wow,
Ann
you're both
has
moms.
one daughter,
Um,
and I have two. And like every parent
Yes, I
in
still
this
call Jim
room,
Lyons
we
Slippers.
want our
Slippers
kids
is
to
here.
grow up
Hi, Laura.
safe, educated, and able to thrive.
Having
That is
having
why Ann's work
the failed
on parental
gubernatorial
rights
candidate
is so
Jeff Deal's
important.
wife nominate
Talk about
the
it.
lieutenant
She lives it every day.
governor running mate for
Ann
Mike
has
Minogue
worked with
is insane.
organizations like the
Kathy Jo
Massachusetts
Boss,
Institute,
her husband Jeff
and with
Deal,
local parent
Slippers
rights
over there.
groups
Those
across
people are
the
responsible for the
On
Massachusetts
the
we
front
have right
lines
now,
in
which
support
is
of our
Maura Healey.
cheerleaders.
Not
That
stepping
we
out of the way and
don't
letting a
want
good candidate
to
get in there and
co-parent
appeal to the
with
middle
the
voter.
government.
They put us in this position. I can't even actually look at her without seeing part of the people responsible for why we are the way we are today.
Make sure our children feel safe in the classrooms,
Like,
in the bathrooms,
you
and
contributed
in
to
the
this.
sports they choose to
Doesn't matter
play.
how good of a speaker you are. Doesn't matter how enthusiastic you are. You do not resonate with unenrolled voters in Massachusetts.
But what
Hi,
really
Maggie.
sets Ann Brensley apart is how she listens and then she takes action. She met with parents face to face, often in their own homes, hearing directly from them about their concerns, their fears, and their hopes for their children. Then she got in the car and toured the state. She didn't wait to get picked to run. She was out early and often to make her case. That's leadership. That's compassion. And that is exactly what we need in a lieutenant governor. If you believe that parents, not the state, should have the final say in their children's future, then Ann Brensley is your candidate. If you believe in keeping our children safe and protecting their future, then Ann Brensley is your candidate. If you want schools to be accountable,
First time I heard Ann Brensley speak.
then Ann Brensley is your candidate. I am proud to stand here today to second her nomination. Delegates, I urge you to vote for Ann Brensley for Lieutenant Governor.
Who has the most delegates who haven't voted yet? Soon.
And God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
So Ann Brensley is going to take the stage.
The name of Ann Brensley is before the convention.
Hey everybody, it's Ann Brensley. Today is Convention Day. I hope you guys are excited. It is month 8 for me of my campaign trail. It's been such an experience. I've gotten to go to over 100 municipalities, from the western part to the eastern part to the northern part to the southern part of the state. And I want to share my journey with you. Thank you so much for showing up at convention and opposing.
Ann Brensley's tiny. She's a little tiny petite girly. She always has a pashmina with her too. I like her. She's nice, but we can't do that. It's a hard no. Oh, is it Raquel? I thought it was Rachel. This is the lady that came after me this morning. Guided by faith, inspired by the people, Nazi hunter. My views, my fault, from the heart, for the people. Candidate for Boston City Council at large. I'm sure she'll win. Hot Mess Express. Somebody going to
Please
announce Ann
welcome
Brensley?
Ann Brensley.
We made it.
This is a weird vibe
Our
already.
grassroots campaign
We made
got
it.
me on this stage. It took a whole state and all of you to get me here. So
Nope.
thank you all. And for those of you who are just being introduced to our campaign, it's a campaign fueled by activists and volunteers and hard work, and we smashed what it means to run for Lieutenant Governor. My personal story, which also helped me get here tonight, is a story about suffering loss and then experiencing pain and absence that over time grows into fortitude. This ability to keep going in the face of adversity. I've lost 2 families in my life. My birth family that I said goodbye to when I was 3 years old, and my adopted family that I lost almost 2 years ago. So for most of my life, I had an immense need to be a sister,
Why did she lose her
but no longer
adopted
had
family?
siblings to be a sister to.
I don't understand
And
this
now I'm a
story.
devoted daughter with no parents to be a daughter to.
Did she lose her family?
With every loss,
Can somebody check
I
on
learned
this?
the limitations of doing everything you can to change a circumstance
Hello.
just to fail.
I'm
And yet
at the
somehow
Republican
walk away
Convention in the Worcester
with this
DCU right
resilience
now.
from just trying.
Okay, I'll call you back.
The perspective I have keeps me moving forward, even when the impossible is in front of me, even in the face of the Healy Driscoll machine, and in moments it's made me wise. That's how I know today cannot be about politics. It has to be about how we all showed up today. Showed up for a cause, a community, the people we care about. Politics is divisive, it's disruptive, it suffocates change. Showing up is an act of love. Some of us showed up because the President of the United States has reached the core of our bones and made us unapologetic in our love for country. Some of us showed up because the Healy Driscoll administration doesn't understand that our home stretches from every corner of our community. And so protecting its character and its history is as important as protecting our home. Some of us showed up because even with hard work, the Healy Driscoll policy has been paying our bills, keeping our employees employed, and building our future impossible. And I know some of us, with God always present in our hearts, showed up for the most vulnerable. Because sometimes you show up for those who have no one to show up for them. Every reason each of us showed up today is an unwavering commitment to faith, family, and community. As individuals, we can try to make change, but united, we become a room full of change makers. As individuals, we can't tear down the Healy Driscoll machine, but united, we can tear it down with our
So if
bare
you're just
hands.
joining us, this is Ann Brensley. She is running for Lieutenant Governor. She is on the ticket with Mike Minogue. That is like a new thing. She had been working for months and we didn't know who she was with. But obviously now we know.
We will win this.
Again, there's a lot of things
The
here.
Healy Driscoll administration has replaced
The Minogue
capitalism
campaign
with
has
welfare
dozens and
reliance,
dozens and dozens, if not hundreds of people
political
here.
ideologies, women's rights, with a weaponization.
I don't want to talk too much about it because we're not going to be negative because it's a great day for the Mass GOP. But with that being said, there is a weird vibe with a lot of like out of state people here with the Minogue campaign. At least that's what I'm being told. I'm being told by people within the Short Sleeve campaign and the Keneally campaign that these are people, outsiders from DC. They hired a pretty expensive team to, I mean, Mike Minogue has millions, if not $1 billion. He's got money to burn, and he has spent it every single solitary way that he can. There were signs all the way in, on the way in here. There is staff people that's, I mean, everywhere.
I heard from a woman in Taunton who told me she'd been
And
let
Brensley
go
is
from
losing
her
people.
job for not taking the
She's,
COVID vaccine.
people aren't listening.
In the same breath of telling me how angry she was about losing her job, I could see that the loss was all her coworkers and everything she had known for over a decade.
Also, I don't like stories.
And the call to action came
Like,
from a frustrated gentleman in
so
Hopkinton.
Ann Brensley is talking to us about a bunch of stories about people she's talked to. It's very easy for candidates to tell other people's stories. This
I
week,
showed up today
I'm a delegate, and
to tell
all
you
of
the
the
plan.
candidates knew who the delegates were.
and asked you to
You don't
join
know
me
who the delegates are
this
going to
plan.
vote for, but you know who the delegates are. So I got
My
3
plan
pieces of mail
is to
in the
fight.
mail yesterday, Friday.
Fight for
One
our
from Short
rights
Sleeve, one from
that
Minogue, and
never
one from
be
Keneally.
secondary
The
to
Brian Short
policy.
Sleeve one was nice. It had Sean Oliver on it, which obviously resonates with me because I'm in Worcester County. Mike Minogue's was a letter. It was in an envelope. I had to open it, and inside I expected a letter from Mike Minogue. It was a letter from some former employee whose husband died unexpectedly and how Mike set up a scholarship for her children. I don't want to hear that. Mike Keneally sent a big flyer. Ann Bresley's the first one to start talking about people crossing the border illegally, and she is getting a standing ovation. People are standing. That is what gets people riled up here.
Sitting next to us.
Illegals.
Our fight can't be with the person
The
vying
Keneally
for
mailer
our
was
position.
big, and it's the only one that had Maura Healey on it. And on one side, it had all the things Maura Healey did wrong, and on the other side, it had all of Keneally's stuff.
I'm the candidate with fortitude.
That, you know,
I'm the candidate
I would be
who
open and say,
volunteered
you know,
for this
Minogue's was
position.
better because it was letter.
6
It wasn't.
months before anyone
Brian
else
Short Sleeves was good and
could have
solid,
auditioned for it.
but Mike Keneally's was like, here's a reminder of what Massachusetts has been dealing with for 4 years, and here's what I'm going to do differently. You know, my goal is once we're done with this and we get past here today and we get 15% and we get on the ballot, move on to go talk to unenrolled voters and Democrats to get them on Team Keneally's side.
Policies we agree upon and those we don't.
She's not the first one to mention. You did great, Sean. Great.
At a similar time,
He did great. It seems like he's done it before.
Or righteous up and down. And if you
Sean
cannot
Oliver and
make
his
them
team
see
and
the
his
light,
wife just
make
walked
them
by.
feel the heat.
Team feeling good after leaving the stage, walking around, saying hi to everybody. Distracting people while Ann Bresley is talking.
As a human, I am flawed. As a candidate, I am scarred.
As a candidate, I am scarred.
But as the nominee, when the Democrats come and try to stand in my way,
I was
will
joking
pass
she was
through
going to
them.
do some sort of poetry. I don't want to hear if you're scarred. I don't understand that. As a candidate, you're scarred.
I will take that moment to be my boldest.
It's fine. We're fine.
And as the nominee, when we win, that win will be shared by all of you.
I am going to be finishing right after this.
Today, we showed up. Tomorrow, we fight.
Oh, this is just, I can't deal with this. I can't deal with it.
And with your help and the grace of God, I will be the next Lieutenant Governor of the state of Massachusetts.
Okay. So we are going to have to disconnect. I'm going to go up and sit with my people in Somerset because we're going to be hearing speeches from the gubernatorial candidates, and I'm a delegate, so I need to go. Well, I don't know. Maybe I can wait until. Maybe I can wait. I'm running out of juice on my laptop. We're in a press box, and there are no places. I wish I got that on camera. I'm live, but it's this side.
According to the rules of this convention, the chair declares that the nominations for the office of Lieutenant Governor are closed.
Hi, everyone.
This is Micah Jones. Say hi.
Hi, everyone. Hope you're having a great day and tuning into the broadcast. And great to. I just met Jess in person, but I've been a big fan of her content, so appreciate getting to
What
say
are you
hi.
running for? Tell her.
Running for the now open Massachusetts 6th Congressional District. This is the 39 cities and towns in the North Shore, Merrimack Valley, from Lynn to Newburyport. It's been great to be on the campaign trail, and I hope to connect with you all, especially if you live on the North Shore. And if you don't, please tell your friends about the campaign. Take care.
I'll find your website and I'll show everybody now. You got something for me? So nice to meet you, Micah.
I appreciate your content.
Yeah.
I'd love to connect further.
Absolutely, you got it.
Thank you.
That's Micah. So, what? No, I'm going to be done now. Who do you think you're dealing with? I'm offended.
I can girl you.
You can. I'm live if that's okay. Is that okay?
I just wanted to meet you. I follow you. And what's your name? I'm Liz.
Hi, Liz.
And
I'm
I follow
Jess.
you through all the stuff.
Oh.
Thank you for all you do.
so excited you're a delegate. Yay, where are you from? Awesome. So nice to meet you. Thanks, Lynn. You got it. You got it. We had a bestie. She's a delegate. So we've got a little bit of a break, and we are probably going to have to shut this down. Here's Ann Bresley is over here right now. That's Ann Bresley. She is Mike Minogue's running partner. She just left the stage. So we've got a little bit of break, and we're going to hear the speeches from our gubernatorial candidates. I hate to turn this. Mr. Cataract, right here. I'm well.
What she said to you? All right. So we have to see that. So you had to get until 2:30. It looks like
So one of our Somerset friends, he's a just recently retired state trooper. He was at Karen Reed, Trial 2. He's a wonderful, wonderful man. He was very excited to become a delegate here in Somerset, and so he's here today. So we just got a chance to chit-chat with him and talk. I think I'm going to disconnect from you as much as I don't want to do it. I'm going to go upstairs. I'm going to see my delegation, and we're going to get ready to listen. Here's Elizabeth Dion, who's your state treasurer candidate. All right, besties. I love that you guys have been hanging out with me. I hate to leave kind of at the peak, but I actually have to go. So we'll probably do a 24 on 24 on the way home when this is done. I want to thank everybody. If you could do me a favor and share this will be great for everybody who hasn't seen it. For those of you who are just joining, we're going to be signing off right now. We're at the Massachusetts Republican Convention. We are getting ready for our gubernatorial candidates to speak, and then the delegates will be voting, and you'll find out who the nominee is, the official nominee is for the party. Candidates for governor need to get 15% of the vote here today in order to make it on the ballot. And so that's the expectation, is that all of these guys will be there, so you'll all have your chance to vote in September. Obviously, I'm a Republican. I am a delegate. I'm the chair of my Somerset Republican Town Committee. When I'm not talking shit on the internet, this is my favorite thing to do. I could get choked up. Here's Jim Lyons. Getting choked up about this process and how important it is for people to get involved. I worked really hard to get here and for my delegation to get here. 4 years in the making. We were boxed out of representing Somerset 4 years ago at the last convention. And when people lie, cheat, and steal their way into meow, 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 meow. More besties. Eventually, everything that's supposed to be takes place, and so we're here. It's the right way, and I'm glad. I'm looking at Jim Lyons, and I'm just like, that guy just ruined our party. He bankrupted us, riddled us with lawsuits. It's just an absolute pain and destruction, and our party is so much better today. I can't believe he has the audacity to show his face here, and if you're talking to him, I am 100% judging you. Okay, I'm gonna go up and see my besties. Thanks for listening, besties. Hygiene. I just so strongly dislike this guy. I want to just go right over to him and be like, hey, Jim, what do you think about the Mass GOP today as opposed to when you were in charge and ran it into the motherfucking ground? Don't even look at me. Ew. Ew. This is Micah. I'll show you Micah.
I grew up in California. The U.S. Army, I was in the Army for 5 years. Army release, and then I came to Boston in 2016, worked in school, and we've stayed since. Yeah.
My colleague, I think you guys have talked about. Nice to meet you in person.
Nice to meet you too. So, yeah, thank you. It's going great. Yeah, thank you. It's a long day for you all too.
What's that?
It's a long day for you all too.
Trying our best. Once every 4 years.
This is my first convention. So.
Now, what do you think?
It's interesting. So I'm not speaking. I don't really read it. I'm just here to meet everybody. I would imagine it'll be after this recess.
They're gonna start speaking, yeah. They're gonna start speaking right after this. Like the nomin, right? I think they start talking first, and then they.
I'm not sure. My hunch was that we do the lieutenant governor vote first. I don't have the agenda.
Team Keneally.
You might be right.
Do we do the lieutenant governor vote first before these guys? Okay. So then we gotta go to our seats. So we're actually gonna do the LG vote first.
this recess.
Yeah, so
Right after this recess.
that's why Jack Gately is the premier independent journalist in Massachusetts. I know nothing. I've got the good hair. He's got the good intel. All right, we're going to end this because we're going to start voting. Thanks for listening. Thanks for following. And I will definitely catch you after the convention. Bye, besties.